Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, we're good talking about the trans shooter again that happened in Minneapolis that ended up murdering two children. And there's some more that meets the eye. As I told you before, there is more information that has been released related to the mother of the trans shooter, and it's gonna be some interesting stuff. Some things that I've actually very recently just dealt with myself, and it's just a matter of step out with myself after what I've dealt. So what we're gonna do here is this. We have this here: the family secret that Minneapolis shooter's mother kept hidden for 2 decades. The mother of Minneapolis shooter Robert Westman, appeared in a movie about her reunion with a daughter she put up for adoption as a child. Years after giving up her baby, Mary Grace Westman, now 67, went on to become a devout Catholic and anti-abortion activist who once held a crucifix in protest outside a Planned Parenthood clinic. Mary Grace has so far refused to cooperate with police seeking information about her son. Now, here's the thing about this, right? I actually don't mind this. In fact, I prefer it. Ladies, if you do not want to have a child, or you just don't want to deal with a child or what have you, for the love of God, birth the child and give it up for adoption like this woman did, because obviously it's a way better than it is. And you can also meet up with your child later on in life if that's so what you want to do, because again, it is a blessing in itself after you can end up doing that. So we have this here. Let's have this here. It says, she flew to Minnesota on Wednesday afternoon within hours of the shocking attack at the Church of the Annunciation Catholic School that left 2 children deceased and 18 injured. Farrell Medias, 44, a Los Angeles-based filmmaker, wrote and directed the film Mary Meet Grace in 2021, a fictional retelling of her real-life reunion with her biological mother, Mary Grace. In interviews, Medias, who grew up in Brooklyn, New York, with her adoptive family and was then known as Rachel Millett, has since formed a close bond with Mary Grace. Medias, who did not return calls or emails from the Daily Mail, writes on her website that she was adopted and shipped from Kentucky like a box of whiskey to New York. I was in foster care for a month before I was adopted, and that family sent me a card every birthday. It meant so much to me to know I wasn't just like in a basket somewhere. This is the mother to the left. It goes on to say here as well that the media was adopted by the Millett family in Brooklyn. The woman believed to be her adoptive mother, Jamie Millett, was not reachable by the Daily Mail. Millett told the Nerd Daily in 2021 that her film was inspired by that intense yearning on an adoptee can feel for whom they are and where they come from. And it goes on to say here, my birth mother appears in the film, found me in 2005 when we later reunited with my bio dad in 2012. The emotional mystery of adoption could feel found in the stories she added. Now, the reason why I could resonate with this, because back in, I want to say, October of last year, I end up meeting with my biological siblings as of last year. Now, this is a bit personal, but I'm trying to show some relevance here. It is a different type of feeling and understanding when you meet with your biological side of things of your family, and it's a different ability feeling altogether. Now, granted, this was like a whole 3 decades afterwards, right? But again, it is still something that happened, and regardless of the situation here, this is a good benefit because you can meet up with your family later on, especially in this day and age. Now, I can understand, like, in years prior, decades prior, yeah, this would be very, very hard to do so. In fact, it would be incredibly hard to do so back in those days because, like, there was no technology or anything to actually reunite yourself with your family. But in today's day and age, it is very possible to reunite with your family if you ever so want to seek it. It will take some time, but you can do it. And it is the reason why I'm so super indebted for adoption, and why I think it's just the best method, because you don't have to go and off your child and think that's the best method to do when you just give your child to another family that really wants them, and then later down the road you can still meet your child years later, decades later. It is good, right? But again, this is where it ends. So this is the reason why I'm not going to shame the mother for giving up her child to somebody else, right? She didn't obviously she didn't want to be a mother for whatever apparent reason that may be, so she chose the better option of giving the baby to a family that actually wanted her, and they ended up reuniting years later. That's completely fine, and I have no issues with this. However, the problem that I have with this is that it gets worse than this. All right, so we have this here from Minneapolis gunman Robin Westman blamed massacre on mom, warning him not to change gender and discourage people from letting their kids transition. Deranged Minneapolis gunman Robin Westman blamed his mother for his decision to unalive so many people at the Catholic school after she warned him that he would regret transitioning to female. While in the next line in his manifesto, he discouraged people from letting their kids change gender. In his disturbed manifesto, Westman 23 claimed to be anxious about a visit from his mother in an entry dated July 1st, where he recalled her concerns about him transitioning. Your words, mother, made me stay in my discomfort, unable to ask for help, to avoid admitting defeat. You weren't right, Mama, but the way you handled it led me to wanting to unalive so many people. Uh, uh, in the writings, the crazed gunman also appeared to blame transitioning and smoking marijuana for his violence. I don't know how marijuana would actually have a correlation to this, but the transitioning, yes. Gender and weed above my head. He claimed, I wish I never had tried experimenting with it either. Don't let your kids smoke weed or change gender until they are like 17. And this is going back further to what I'm saying here, is that these parents are transitioning their kids, and a lot it's sometimes not even the parents' fault, right? So the parents will transition their kids, but because these sick and deranged doctors will go out and say to these parents, oh, well, if you don't transition your child will unalive themselves. So they'll put themselves in a basket or a casket or what have you. That's what they'll do. And parents will do it rightfully so out of fear, so they don't, so their kid still lives and they don't put themselves in a casket. But unfortunately, but the only problem that we have with this is that these doctors lie, and when they do this and they blatantly lie about these situations, is that what you end up doing is that these doctors should be immediately arrested, right? They should be immediately arrested and put in jail for lying and ruining a family's life. That's what should happen to these doctors. While the parents that were not deceived and let their kids let their kid transition should be put in jail. And that's the reason why this mother should be let their kid put in jail. You have to. This is one of the reasons why we have a problem with a single mother household. When you do not have a firm stance of saying, no, you were not doing this, you put your foot down, and because she did this when he was still a minor, you caused irreparable damage. You caused harm. And this is the reason why you just gotta have a man in the house, because if it was me, I would say, no way, and as God's blazing earth, are you going to transition right now? You will do it at the age of 18, you will suffer your consequences later, but you will not be doing it now. And that's in the discussion, because kids change, and this is the result of it. And that's what we have. Of course, we have this here. Investigators say no red flags were raised before a Minneapolis church shooter amassed an arsenal of guns, which is insane because we all know that there were multiple red flags about this. You guys, we all know that when you went to the doctor, when you went to the police or whatever, or not to the police, but the police came in for like mental health issues, physical issues, that multiple times before. So there were red flags. You guys just didn't listen to the red flags. You ignored them like they were an anomaly, like it doesn't exist. So that's what we have here. The reality of this fact is that the mother failed her son, and the mother should be held responsible for these situations. Now, she shouldn't have necessarily, I don't think, attempted murder or whatever, but she should be in jail for it. This is the problem that we have here. I'm not saying that all transgenders are necessarily going to have this issue, but I think that they do need help. I think transgender people need to get mental health, get therapy, etc., because this is the only way that I could find a possible way to help these people without them going down a path of just destruction. It's like the mom didn't even bother to try to get the child, get the kid any help whatsoever, not to go put him in therapy or anything of those lines. And if he was on SSRIs, he shouldn't have been able to have access to a lot of things. So there's things that should have been done and prevented, but the mother didn't do this. The mother is to blame. Like this is just a sign, guys. I'm letting you guys know, if you transition your child, there's a very strong likelihood that this is going to happen, right? There's a very strong likelihood that your child's life is going to be messed up forever, and you have to face the consequences of that, and you should be jailed for it if you do it. Unless you were under other circumstances, like, for example, if the doctor legitimately tricked you into saying that this and this, and you were just trying to do what was best for your child because the doctor told you so, that's a different story, because at that point you're under distress. You wanted to do what was best for your child, what the doctor was telling you, and that's when the doctor should be held responsible, right? So that's it, guys. That's pretty much it. Hopefully, we see whatever else comes out. I will update you update you on it. But it's really a sad situation altogether, and it is what it is. All right, guys. That's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.